What have we been saying this entire time? That these AI platforms such as Suno have been stealing our music. Now we have proof, and what's crazy is I have proof that they've directly stolen a bunch of my beats. So the publication The Atlantic has created this AI watchdog database. It's an ongoing investigation of the books, videos, and other media used by the world's most powerful tech companies to train their AI model. Music Ally and actually Gemini AI. We're not using Gemini AI. The Atlantic uncovers millions of songs used for AI training, which we already knew. Suno has admitted this. Udio has admitted this. Marika has admitted this. They said, and I believe the term is they used all music available on the available internet, something to that effect. So basically any song that's out on the internet, regardless of it being copyrighted, regardless of it being against the policies of the individual platforms to download and rip that music, that's what they trained on. What's interesting about the timing here is it comes just a few weeks after Universal Music Group and Sony Music sought to add more than an additional 61,000 recordings to their copyright lawsuit against Suno. And remember, Suno has settled with and partnered with one major label, that's Warner Music Group. There are two left. Sony seems to be fighting the hardest. Universal Music Group has already settled with Udio, and Udio has still not recovered yet. So here's the data set. You can explore them. If I just type my name, DJ Pain 1, let's see what comes up. 49 results. So across the board on all four data sets, shows you all these songs. And the AI bros gaslit the fuck out of us, talking about, oh, why would anyone train on your music? I mean, look at this. They're training on my videos, on my YouTube videos. I wonder what that's about. I don't even know what sleeping AI is. Let's see what sleeping AI is, because they've been stealing a bunch of my shit. Nonprofit decentralized lab operating across continents with highly skilled programmers and researchers. What is this data set? Intern vid. Oh, ByteDance. So Stability AI and Byte. So it looks like they're, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a data set that appears to be feeding larger companies. ByteDance, for example, owns TikTok. So what it says here is AI companies may omit certain works when training. So the presence of a work in the data set is not definitive proof that it was used. Companies often use multiple data sets in training, so the absence of a given work is also not proof that it hasn't been used. Note that some data sets contain multiple copies of certain works. Here's the issue too. So it says 49 of my songs have been taken and without my consent, without my permission, without paying me to train these data sets. 49 seems a little light. And what the issue is that oftentimes, you know, I sell beats all the time to major label artists, to unsigned artists. I sell beats online. I'm usually not credited in the title, right? And so that means my work is probably being trained. Actually, let's experiment. I'll show you what I mean. So Ari Lennox co-produced a track for Ari Lennox way back, and it's called Chocolate Pomegranate. Let's see if it's on this list. Yep, there it is. Let's see what else is, yeah, there's Rodeo, my last hit single. And this is all coming up outside of the DJ Pain 1 search term because my name is nowhere in the title, right? So let's see if Switch It Up is on here. Yep, so there it is. Switch It Up is there. And it's not gonna come up under the DJ Pain 1 search term because I'm not a primary artist. So I'm not listed in the title as a featured artist. I'm just a producer. You know, I have my producer credits, but that's not coming up here. So who knows how many hundreds, if not thousands of my songs have actually been made a part of these data sets by artists who have leased beats, by major label artists who have bought beats and who haven't, and you know, it's not typical that they do this, but who haven't put my name up as part of the titles. There were a lot of headlines as you saw in the video, and a lot of information out there from what I thought were credible sources saying that these data sets were actually used by Suno and Udio. And you can tell that, you know, a lot of these headlines, like this one is just confusing. So it says 21 million songs were used to train Suno and Udio. And this isn't anything new. This is just the same old copyright lawsuit that they filed a while ago. And you can see here on Gadget Review, millions of generated songs were fed to AI music generators. Now there's proof. Atlantic databases named 21 million tracks fed to Suno and rivals. So right here it says that Atlantic database is in fact being fed to Suno. However, someone I trust, Ryan Schmidt, who's an entertainment attorney, been on my channel several times. He says, many of us discovered yesterday that our songs appear to have been scraped into AI datasets. Thanks to the incredible investigative work at The Atlantic, we're learning a lot more about what may have happened. But it also says one early finding, Sleeping.ai and Leon Disco do not appear to be affiliated with Suno or Udio, their research data sets. So these data sets are probably not good, as he continues to explain. However, according to him, there's no connection between these data sets and Suno, but according to other sources, there is a direct connection. In fact, these databases have been fed into Suno. So take this with a grain of salt. I'll continue reporting based on the information that comes out. However, Suno admitted to stealing songs from the open internet. I mean, this isn't anything new. This is from 2 years ago. As Suno and Udio admit training AI with unlicensed music, record industry said there's nothing fair about stealing an artist's life work. So this plays into the fair use conversation. And if you need any proof, just watch this video by Sync My Music. Is Suno sampling copyrighted producer tags? There it is. All right, back to the video. And there have been a lot of articles written about this. I already showed you one from Music Ally. Here's Engadget. Investigation by The Atlantic reveals many millions of songs used for AI music training. Of course, they're going to bring up Suno and Udio because they're the largest. And it says, you know, both of them have often made claims of fair use as a defense. Here's the challenge. You have to take a shot every time someone leaves a comment, some AI fangirl leaves a comment saying AI training is fair use. And then you have to take 2 shots every time an AI fangirl brings up the Anthropic case as proof that somehow this is all legal. Actually, please don't do that. I don't even drink. And if you actually play this game, you might end up in a hospital. Now, the good news is Suno now has a $5.4 billion valuation, while all of us have a $0 billion valuation. God bless America. And the reason why Suno is doing so well is because they stole all the music without permission, because that would have cost too much and taken too long for them to actually gather. And so they trained on the best human created music possible because they took all of it. And that's why they are so successful right now. So where's our compensation? What conclusions can be drawn from this? I know lawyers are on it. I am not a lawyer. I do want to get into some legal stuff because I did bring up the Anthropic case, and a lot of people cite the Anthropic case when they want to argue with me in the comments section about how fair use actually does apply in AI training, and that it's not actually theft if some trust fund kid takes our songs and makes $5.4 billion off of a massive piracy model because of the fair use doctrine. Now, people don't understand the fair use doctrine. What happened with the Anthropic case is that they actually did successfully use the fair use defense when it came to training Claude's language models off of books, because it satisfied all the provisions of fair use. So a lot of people are thinking, well, that applies to what Suno's doing, that applies to what Udio's doing. Well, not quite. In fact, Anthropic itself, and I'll explain more of this, but Anthropic itself is currently being sued by music publishers and various entities that represent the music industry, and they have not yet employed fair use, I don't think, in this case. So right now, Universal, the largest music label on the planet, Concord and ABKCO music publishing companies have sued for copyrighted lyrics. And so this is ongoing, because at this point, it looks like, and this has nothing to do with the previous lawsuit where Anthropic trained Claude's language models on books. It looks like you can go on Claude and ask it to write lyrics for your songs, and those lyrics are coming from these millions of copyrighted works. So now that's different. So let's talk about why that's different. Let's talk about fair use. And the only source I'm using here is copyright.gov. Go to copyright.gov/fair-use, and you'll see what I'm talking about. These are the legal provisions, the factors evaluating a question of fair use. Fair use is not a law. Fair use is a defense. So when you're being sued, which Suno, for example, is right now, you can call on the fair use doctrine as a defense. Now, does that apply? A lot of people would say it would apply here with Suno because they're fucking idiots. Number one, this is the first factor: purpose and character of the use, whether the use is of a commercial nature or is nonprofit educational. Is Suno nonprofit? No. They are worth $5.4 billion. So I feel like we're on very shaky legal ground with number one. Number two, nature of copyrighted work. The factor analyzes the degree to which the work that was used relates to the copyright's purpose of encouraging creative expression. It's machine learning, so I also think this is legal shaky ground, but I'm not a lawyer. Number 3, amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. This is where the AI bros are going to say, well, machine learning is just pattern recognition. They don't actually blah, 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 even though there's proof of one-to-one input to output. The producer tags, that happened years ago, where there was an honorable C note tag. There was a Cash Money AP tag in its entirety being output without prompting by Suno specifically, but I've heard it in Google's music LLM model, which was very early generative AI. Number 4, I think, is the most important. Effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. Here, courts review whether and to what extent the unlicensed use harms the existing or future market for the copyright owner's original work. Would it cause substantial harm if it were to become widespread? So in other words, is training on copyrighted music going to compete unfairly with human musicians? Is it going to affect the commercial market? Is it going to affect our ability as human musicians to make a living, continue to make a living in the space? Obviously, the answer is yes. Suno and these other companies may deny it, but they actually let it slip at one point. So Ed Newton-Rex, this is old news, 3 months ago, Suno's lead investor tweeted that she shifted her listening from Spotify to Suno because it's now this hyper-curated thing where she deleted the tweet, obviously, because that was legal exposure. But it is, as he says, and as a lot of lawyers, I think, including top music attorney, have said, this is a direct admission that Suno competes with the music it trains on. So if you're competing on music that you stole from human artists, and then your lead investor is saying, you know what? I don't even listen to human artists because I'm only listening to Suno. Anybody with more than one functioning brain cell can see what that means. They are saying we are here to replace human artists. The AI bros are running around the internet talking about Suno is here to replace human artists. Every asshole who loves generative AI is saying the same thing. Ha ha ha, I can't wait for you motherfuckers to get replaced. You beat makers, you singer-songwriters, you talented humans. I can't wait for you to be replaced. So replacement isn't just competition, it's harm to those in the same market. Very clearly, this does not constitute fair use. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I am literate. I mean, all the marketing that Suno itself has done, I've covered this on videos before, where it very clearly markets its product as competition to music libraries, for example, or to session players, for example. They're just snitching on themselves, and I'm imagining that this is all going to come out in court because the people that are suing them are incredibly rich, wealthy, and powerful, maybe even more so than them. But again, this is America, money always wins. So let's see what happens. I'm not saying that the labels are our friends. I'm saying that the labels are the ones with the resources to fight, even though there is a class action lawsuit. I believe there's probably more than one class action lawsuit. The one I'm a part of is from Top Music Attorney. So we're gonna see what happens. If you do wanna check the database yourself, I've put a link in the description so you can search for songs that you've created, co-written, co-produced, etc., to see if it's been stolen by these AI companies. And it probably has been. Anything on the open internet, they've taken, they've trained on it, they've generated billions and billions of dollars off of it. So if you're watching this and you don't have $1 billion, that's a problem.